Good morning, YouTube. What's going on? 7:10 a.m. Thursday morning. Halfway through my vacation. Haven't done much content, but today we're going to look at these nitro engines right here. Beautiful. A Picco and a Novorossi Rex Legend. Give me a few minutes. I'll be right back and we'll go over these. Alright, let's just get right into these. We'll go over the Picco first, then we're going to take a look at the Rex Legend. I'll tell you how I acquired this and the type of fuel that I am using. But let's go ahead and get into this Picco real quick. So basically, this P-7R, they came out with 4 versions of this. This is version 1. This is the original. It's brand new. I have broke it in. Partially broke it in. I ran 1 quart through it, and as y'all know, Piccos take a little bit more, so we're not quite there. We need to run probably about 1 gallon through this thing, but I probably won't run it anytime soon like I am a lot of the other ones. So I did want to show you all this again. I showed it a long time ago on my channel, but kind of want to go over it again since we're going through some of these nitro engines and see what it's all about. So basically, again, there were 4 versions of this: the Evo original, the Evo 2, Evo 3, and Evo 4. Great engines. They boast a great power band and fuel efficiency in these, kind of a smooth acceleration and extreme mid to top end on these. 2 shims, not sure what they are, but let's just get into it. So it is a standard glow plug head button. So again, this is the plug that I use. This is the LC3 OS long reach. These do require a long reach plug. This is the same plug you're going to run. You can run this in your Traxxas 2.5 and 3.3s as well. It's what I run in most of my LRPs that require standard glow plugs, and overall great plug right here. A couple of other plugs out there that are good. The Dynamite Iridium plug is good. The Platinum Dynamite plug is good. Both their standard long reach and their turbo version. So if you can find those, they're good as well. But this is my recommendation right here. This is the OS LC3. So there you go. Let's take a look at this. I'm about to say crank. Let's take a look at this crankcase. See what it's all about. It's really clean, beautiful. This thing's been sitting on the shelf for about 1 year or so. A lot of times I'll run them a little bit, break them in, and then they just sit there. So looks good. No corrosion on the bearing, unlike this Rex Legend, and I'll explain all that to y'all here in a few minutes. This is a great Rex Legend. I got a killer deal, and I was glad that I picked it up, but we'll go over that in a minute. So here we go. Nothing special about this crankcase. No real cuts or modifications from the factory. Nothing like this. Again, when the original, when this one came out. But again, Picco engines, very good, very well made. Italian engine right here. Picco Evo P-7R. This is your, see how the exhaust port leans down? Very frustrating to me when you're trying to hook up a pipe, but they do have a special gasket. This is the gasket for that. Let's look at a Novorossi one. See how this one is more of a square or a symmetrical. There's no, like if you look at this one, it has more of a curved, a concave on it, on the end. This one is flatter. So this is a specific Picco gasket. I've got some other ones that don't have the flange part on it. They're this part. They're for all the .21s, but this is the original Picco gasket right here. Much different. You can see it's just a solid gasket right there. This is the original Novarasi one, which I really don't like the Novarasi gaskets, but this is specific for this. Alright, enough of that. It's a beautiful crankcase. Let's take a look at the crank. So there are some modifications from the factory on this crank. A large timing window there. It's a 14mm crank. So in all actuality, the crank is the same size as the Novarasi. 14mm crank. Beautiful. Got your teardrop cut right there in the barrel. Not a very open barrel there. It is a non-ramped, non-filled. You can actually see when they drilled through where the drill bit goes in. I don't know if that's supposed to be like that or what. I guess it is. But it looks like when they drilled it out, it goes straight into where the ramp would be right there. It's kind of weird. Really nice looking crank though. I do have an extra crank for this and an extra head button as well. Alright, let's look at the head button. Again, this is a standard plug button. You can tell by the flatness here. You couldn't even get a turbo plug in there if you tried. It won't even start because of the milled end on the turbo plug. It's got a nice deep bowl, and again 2 shims. That's not a shim, that's just a raised portion. Nothing really spectacular, but you got to remember this, you know, I don't know exactly when. I'm sure this came out in the lower mid 2000s, maybe 2005, 2006, something like that, but not 100% sure. All right, let's take a look at the piston in the sleeve. It's a beautiful sleeve. It's got this roughed edge on the bottom here. It is a 7-port. Well, they call it a 5-port with 2 bypasses. So you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess these smaller ones are your bypass ports. So without those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 bypass and your exhaust port. Pretty pronounced dog ears on this one as well. It's a really nicely made sleeve. The inside looks good. And again, I did start to break this in, but only about a quart. There's no burrs or anything. It's a very well made sleeve. Alright, piston. So it's not a team piston, but it's does have a dimple in the top. Looks like it's lapped. Again, it has been run. It's a CNC machined piston. Pretty thick. Not as thick as that works we looked at the other day. And we will be running this probably on Sunday, to be honest with you. The day before I go back to work. I am making another transition in work, like I said in the last video. So my time will be a little bit lessened, but I do promise to do at least one video a week. Knife edged. It's got your oil valley on both sides. Can't tell if that's a hole or not. I know that there is a hole here. You can see that very well, and it looks like the beginnings of a hole here for your oil valley, but I don't think it goes all the way through. Double bushing. Let's see the tolerance on it. It's brand new, so it should be good. Yes, sir. Very good. Let's check the pinch. Put a little oil. Oh yeah, look at that. I'm pushing on. Oh, there you go. I'm pushing on it. Yeah, there's a lot of pinch in this. Piccos are known. Most Italian engines, like the Works, the Piccos, CRF, all those are going to have a much tighter tolerance. So we need to continue to break this in if we do want to run it again. Beautiful. Head, nothing special about this head, and you can tell this is an older, early date one, because they do boast a two-piece head button, so you know, back in the day they were all, most of them were one piece, so this was kind of a big thing. But you know, the actual head itself, there's nothing special about it. It's a nice looking head. P-7R Evo. Got your shine cuts. Whatever happened to Todd? Nitro Todd, man. Nitro Todd, if you're out there, give us some more videos, man. Whether your channel is really growing or not, it takes a long time for your channel to grow, but we really like looking at your videos, Nitro Talk with Todd. So put something out there, man. We appreciate you 100%, man. Alright, let's take a look at this here. This came with 3 Venturis, came with a 7, came with an 8, and came with a 9. Little .21 came with a 9 Venturi. Yeah, came with a 7, an 8, and a 9. I believe this is the 9 right here. It is a mid-speed needle, so not a short, not a long, kind of right in the middle there. Good looking carburetor, not insulated though. I mean, insulated carbs came around later on, but it is a composite carb, so looks good. Alright, and the back plate, pretty unique black back plate. It's just an anodized aluminum back plate, but it's blue. To match the head, but pretty typical, like the Works and others. Just a solid one. Got your cuts there, and again 2 shims, not sure what they are. So basically 14mm crank, 5-port 2 bypass, hard chrome brass lapped liner, CNC machined piston with high percentage silicone alloy. Swiss bearings, not ceramic, but Swiss bearings. 3.49 cc, 16.26 bore, 2.3 horsepower, max RPMs 30k, and again they do boast a smooth power band on this. So give me a few minutes, I'll get this one out of the way. We'll take a look at the Rex Legend .28. See y'all in a few. So let me start out by telling you guys how I acquired this. I actually did a trade for my last E-Word, my Gen 1 E-Revo. I traded for this engine and a couple of gallons of nitro fuel. So I want to give a big shout out first and foremost to Elliot over at RCHQ Radio Control Headquarters in San Antonio. 2 locations, one at Rolling Oaks Mall, Nacogdoches Road, and your service center and hobby shop in San Antonio, also on Nacogdoches Road. They're just a little further apart. The mall's up here, the store's down here. But anyway, thank you, Elliot. Thank you for letting me know about this and hooking me up. We're also going to pick up a orange head Paloma to go with my purple head Paloma. So He's got that over there for me. I got to run over, drop off a couple of things to him, and we'll pick up that engine and we'll take a look at it. We'll compare it to the purple head, see if there's any differences. But anyway, went in trade. The trade came with the Novorossi Rex Legend .28. Now this is the 28 7 port, not the 8 port. Now I do have an 8 port liner up there, which I believe probably still has enough pinch to where I could put it in here, but we're not going to do that. We're going to keep it with the 7 port, and we'll go over this in a second. There's a lot of pinch on this. It's beautiful. There was some rust in it. It had steel bearings in it, but I happen to have a set of brand new ceramic bearings for this Novorossi that I picked up from RC Renew. Again, you guys go check out Lance over at RC Renew. He's got all kinds of stuff, man, and you can get these bearings for this. These Novorossis have a specific bearing size that's a little unique. And go over and check out RC Renew. So let's take a look. Oh, and it also came, this is my fourth 41032, fourth 41032 Novorossi, and an original 9886 right here, if y'all can see that. They after they changed these, they eliminated 9886, now known as the 50014. But this is an original 9886, not a super strong, but still a great setup right here for your big block engines, for your .28s and up. Really, you know, .25, .24, 25, 26 and up through 32. This is a great setup. It's actually this is an on-road pipe, originally an on-road pipe. It does have one little ding right here, but that's the only ding on it. So originally, I'm assuming this guy picked up this whole set, probably watching some Bodegel or something back in the day, and picked this up. He always gave us a lot of good information. I learned a lot from Mr. John Bodegel, among a lot of other people's, not just him. But he did have a lot of good information, a lot of great videos. It's a shame that he doesn't do anything anymore on the nitro side. Wish he would, but guess he grew out of it. I'll never grow out of it. I'm almost 60 years old. I love these nitro engines. We got fifth scale stuff. We're going to be doing some fifth scale stuff pretty soon. We're going to get this twin tidied up at some point eventually. Something always pops up, man. I just haven't had time. And for one, the guy over there at FLM, Fast Lane Machine, where I'm going to pick up the gears for this thing, they're on vacation till Friday. Or not Friday, till Monday. So after Monday, I'll probably go ahead and pick up the FLM gears for this. I've already got the hardened gear here. And we'll get this taken care of. Get that. Alright. Alright, back to the Novorossi. I just thought this was a great deal, man. I'm just not into the E words. I never ran that thing. I completely rebuilt it. But someone's going to have a good E-Revo Gen 1. I wanted this more. This just kind of proves that I'm a nitro guy, man. I love these nitro engines. I love the power, the smell, the feel. I love all of it, man. So let's take a look at this crankcase, this block. See what we got. All right, again, I did swap out the bearing. I did this yesterday. I pulled the old bearing out and put this Swiss-made ceramic bearing in the rear. So we do have a ceramic bearing in here now. The other, I was going to show you all the other bearing that was in there. Did have some rust on it. There was some rust on the crank as well, but I cleaned it all up and she looks good. So anyway, let's look at this real quick. It's a beautiful crankcase. This engine has probably got about, I'm going to say no more than a gallon, gallon and a half, 2 at the most. But here you can see you've got your porting right here. like you see on a lot of the newer engines. I mean, this isn't really newer. This engine came out, they actually came out with about 5 different engines around 2015. Basically, they came out with the 28.8, obviously, which this is not. This is 28.7. They came out with the Legend 7 port, this one. They came out with the .20. This is the 28.7 port. They actually have a .21.7 port, and they have a .21.4 port as well, which is probably similar to this T Plus 4 up here that I picked up a while back. But I think that is a much older version of the nitro engines, probably around 2005 to 2007, something like that. These came out in around 2014, 2015. So they came out with the 21s, the 7 port, the 4 port. They came out with the 28.8 port and the 28.7 port. The 28.7 port is a short stroke engine, and they came out with a .25 Truggy engine, which was a long stroke, all around the same time. The 28.7, put 8 there, 28.7 4.66 cc, max RPM 33,500 RPMs, 7 port steel bearings, which I switched to a ceramic bearing. Came with a 9mm Venturi right there, and originally came with a C6T GC plug, which is now known as the CT06, which is a medium plug. But we won't run a medium plug. You guys already know the plug that I run. Beautiful looking crankcase here. Got your forget the number on this, 4017 or something like that, your original Novarasi blue face bearing. There's your carburetor throat. Got your typical black clinch bolt, flathead screw, typical on these. All Novarasis are flatheads, so make sure you get the right tool to do this so you don't strip it out. You strip out one of these head bolts and you're going to be in a world of hurt. You will be able to get it out, maybe, if you take your time, but probably going to mess some stuff up. Alright, there you go. That's that. Let's take a look at the crank. So let's take a look at your crank right here. It's a beautiful crank. Does have some factory work done to it. I believe the purple-headed Legend 28.8s, those were not Rex Legends. I think they came out around 2017 or so, something like that. And again, these came out in around 2014, 2015. But just typical crank right here. Got your Novarasi branding on there. Nothing too special about it. It is looks like a ramped crank right there, but not filled or anything like that. It's a beast. 14mm crank. Let's take a look at this. Typical, made in Italy, what most of them say, except some of the older ones. It's got a pretty unique cut back here for the skirt. Like it's leveled or ramped. It's got like a higher platform on it than a lower one. And I'm sure these are for flow and whatnot. But again, rubbing on the back. I've got a ton of these back plates for this. Head button. Again, this is used. Got about 1.5 gallons, 2 gallons. Nothing special about the head button. It is marked for the exhaust port. And it does have, I thought at first it didn't have any shims, but these are shims right here. You can see it moving a little bit. It's either 1 or 2, but they're kind of hard on there, so I didn't want to take them off. This is that black C6 plug. You can always tell the Novarasi plugs, man, by looking at the top right here. They got like those little dots, those little marks all the way around it. And they'll either be solid black or your normal color. Alright, let's take a look at, I don't even know if we need to take a look at the carburetor. This is a beautiful 2 2 needle carb, your Novarasi race carb, but we'll look at it here in a second. So let's take a look at the piston. Big monster piston. Let's take a look at the difference between a .21 piston and a .28 piston. Holy moly, huge difference, man. Crazy. Look at that. And this is considered a short stroke right here. Butamus. Anyway, so RT, I don't know what the T stands for, but you got your Novarasi logo and a T on there. Not sure what rod this is, a number 4 or number 7. Really nice though, just a basic big ass piston. It is CNC machined. You can see that the guy had a couple of gallons on it. Looks like he was running pretty rich. Did notice that on the needles as well. That's the first thing that I look at when I'm thinking about buying a used nitro engine. Want to see where the needles are, see how they were running it. Trust me, if they get mine, they're gonna know I've been running that stuff lean and mean. But you know, that's me. It's my stuff. I do what I want. I did clean this piston up a little bit. Clean the top off of it. Got some of the caramelization off. But it was nothing like looking at that works or whatever we looked at the other day that had all the build up on the top. And I got that all cleaned up as well. This typical Novarasi piston and rod. Let's check a look. Let's check a look at the tolerances real quick. Little tiny bit of play in there. Maybe not. Maybe I just didn't have it in all the way. Yeah, it's good. Maybe just a tish. Maybe a tish of play there. I do have another rod. I do have another rod. It's not in that piston, but I have another piston and rod as well. So we may take a look at that. Alright, let's take a look at our sleeve. Again, 7-port sleeve. So intake. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you got your exhaust ports here. A little bit different than your typical exhaust port. So it doesn't have the pronounced dog ears, it just has separate dog ears. It is trademark Novarasi with their R on there and an M. I don't know what the M means, maybe Mach. Again, like the other one I showed the other day, you can see where the fuel flow is going. It's making marks on the sleeve. Very well made liner here. No burrs whatsoever. Just really well made. And that's typical Novarasi, man. I'm telling you, these things, I wish they never would have went out of business. Sleeve looks good. Got indentions here in the sides, and then your pin, your guide pin guide right there. Let's check our pinch in this. Pretty good. There. Plenty of life in this engine. So we will be running this pretty soon. I'm going to clean it up a little bit more, and we'll give it a run. So let's take a look at this carburetor. Y'all seen these carburetors many times. I've milled a bunch of them for my LRPs. This one obviously not milled. 9mm Venturi. Come out of there. A long speed needle, like a lot of them are. I think your smaller, like your .21s and whatnot, are running a mid or a short speed needle, and your 28s are running the these long speed needles. But this is the best carburetor right here to mill for your LRP 32s. All you do is you mill 1 millimeter off, which is about the distance of this part that's exposed. So mill it down to the black, 1 millimeter, and you'll be fine. You can also use 2 O-rings, but I suggest if you have the carburetor additional, go ahead and mill it. LRP's not going out anytime soon, so there was a point there that you couldn't get LRPs anymore except overseas, and very minimal. You couldn't find parts, but then they came out with the .32 4.1. So parts are plentiful, man. Don't hesitate to mill one of these to throw in your .32. Get rid of that X-Tech. Even the newer ones. The only X-Tech carb on the LRPs that's worth a damn is in the Truggy 28.8. It's a different carburetor. It's not the X-Tech that you're used to. That's a badass carburetor. All the other ones are junk. Get rid of them and put something else in. If you go look, I think at forget who it was that did the carburetor, the different carburetors for your LRP 32. But if I remember, I'll put a link down below. 9 millimeter Venturi. Other than that, man, that's about it. We are going to get this running. I do want to do a Truggy run as well out here at the ramps. I did a lot of work on the ramps. I'm getting excited about that. We'll do something. You guys will probably get this video and maybe 2 more videos before the end of the week, before I go back to work, and then after that probably nothing till the next weekend. The Picco that we looked at a minute ago did come with this. A lot of good information in this. It's got your exploded view and some other paperwork I'll show y'all real quick. Here's your exploded view P-7R Evo .21 buggy, SG World Champion engines. But there you go. There's your exploded view. Oh look, man, you got all your Picco information via M. Rosa, Italy. So there's their address in Italy. Here's their telephone number and their fax number. Wonder if it still works. Huh. Nothing on the back. Maybe we'll call it one day. And here you go. Came with an 07 Venturi, an 08, and an 09 Venturi. All your part numbers. And then this one is your Offna stuff. Offna Picco .21 P-7R Evo, part number 51218. It's just your new engine break-in, your needle settings. These are always good, so you know what your needle let's see what the needle settings are. Master needle valve, main control for fuel mixture. Set 1 turn in from flush of the housing. Adjust this needle for maximum RPM and power without being too lean or hot. Make sure you start at bottom of the needle seat. Side carburetor needle, which is your low speed. This needle is in the center side of the carburetor and provides throttle response. So when you're dialing in your low speed, you're trying to get that pop, your response. It's going to raise your idle, and then you just back off your slide barrel. You close your gap. So set 2 turns out from flush. Turning in is lean, out is rich. Do not adjust this needle until the master needle is set for power. So you always want to do your high speed needle first, then dial in your low speed, then adjust your actual idle. For 3-speed needle carburetors, do not adjust mid-range needle preset by factory. If you know how to do it, it's no big deal. It's, you know, I implore you guys to mess around with all your needles, find your adjustments. You can always put it back to factory settings. Your normal operating temperature on this Picco is 220 to 270 degrees. Temperatures of 300 degrees and above will damage the engine and shorten the life. So keep it around keep it around 220, 250, something like that, but don't go over 270. Barrel stop screw used to adjusting the idle, set for 1/16 inch gap to start new engines. You can open more for a faster idle, but don't do that. Bring it down to the lowest opening possible, and you know, make sure your linkage is correct, so when you hit the brakes it's not shutting it down. But you want your smallest carb slide gap possible. Usually I do anywhere from a 0.40 to a 0.60. Again, they've got Offna Racing, 7 Vanderbilt, Irvine, California. Probably underwater right now. Got your phone numbers and all that as well. So. And another exploded view on the back. Well, that's the same part number. Did this one have the part number on it? There's your stuff on it. 3.49 cc, 16.8 stroke, 16.26, 30,000 horsepower, 2.4, weighs 330 grams. I'm assuming it's all the same thing. Alright, that be it, people. So I know you guys are getting a little bored of these videos, but I like showing you guys what I got, going over some of these engines that we haven't gone over in a long time. I'm stoked to get this thing cleaned up, get it put in a truggy, and hit the ramps or whatnot. Maybe do some speed runs or something, but really the modified .21s are what I like putting in the buggy. They've got your most RPM range and power band. I really love these. These are just stump pullers. These are beasts right here. So I appreciate y'all. I'll see you guys in the next video here pretty soon. Promise we'll do a running video here at the ramps, and we'll try to get out and do some on-road stuff with this Works B5 RCR modified. Again, people, go check out RC Renew. Lance, really cool dude, man. You can talk to him on the phone. You can get a hold of him. A lot of these other people you can't. Go check him out, man. I know I've been pushing him a lot lately. I don't get any kickbacks. I don't get nothing from him. He just does good work, people. I won't trust my engines to anybody else. I appreciate y'all. We'll see you in the next video.
Yo, did your mama warn you? In the game of life, you gotta fight. Yo, did your daddy warn you? If you gonna go, there is only one way to go.